Big day, everyone. You know what today is? Together Thursdays.
I would like to welcome everyone to Together Thursdays. I am Sean Carrington with MrShawnBIZ. And what we do, we focus on leadership for individuals, small business owners, and nonprofit organizations. Today, we got a very special guest with us, and we know everyone's going to love it.
All right, for those that don't know me, my name is Big. I'm here. I help you streamline your mission to accomplish your goals. And today, just like Sean said, the guest that we have is going to do more than that, and you're going to get to know Ray. Ray, why don't you just go right ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, Big Sean. First, I want to say thank you so much for having me on your incredible podcast. It's great to finally put a face to some voices here, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. There's I'll see where I can begin here. I'll say about 12 years ago now. I can't believe it. 12 years ago, I started on this incredible journey, um, producing segments with a lot of the great Shark Tank entrepreneurs. I was a big fan of the show. I produced a podcast before that where I was interviewing wonderful individuals such as yourselves. And I decided that I wanted to take it a little bit further here. So I've always loved, even going back before that, I've always loved sharing stories of, and I say this in the most uplifting sense, sharing stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things in the most positive way. Stories and many documentaries always fascinated me, kind of like, the Olympics, when you see an Olympic athlete that's about to participate in their event, and then they go to those 30-second, 1 minute, 2 minute documentaries showing what the backstory, how they got there, the Olympic athlete.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when they flash back to them, you see them in a whole different light, because I didn't know that about them. I didn't know that they went through this to get here. I didn't know that they went through so much adversity and they sacrificed so much. And you look at them different. And I said, wow, this is telling stories. So to me, sharing stories of people is what really drove me to start on this whole journey. And so move forward to about 12 years ago, to 12 or 13, I don't know. It's getting to be a long time now. Time has gone by so quick. But this incredible show called Shark Tank came on the scene. And the first year, I didn't even pay attention to it. I didn't even know what it was. But then around the second or third year, I think about the second year, I started to take notice of it. Thought, wow, this is really powerful. These are people like myself that are going up and in front of a handful of the most recognizable entrepreneurs and investors on the planet, the sharks, and they're up there living their dream. They're up there making things happen. And so one night, I decided that I was going to get in touch with a couple of the entrepreneurs because their stories were so powerful. Their pitch was incredible. And I wanted to find out what the whole story was. Okay, because you only see about 10 minutes of them on screen. And so there was two entrepreneurs, Grannies in the Garage, Ice Chips Candy, Charlotte Clary and Bev Vines Haynes, who were in my multimedia book, by the way. And then there was Rick Hopper of Readerest, a little magnetic product that goes on your shirt, and you just put your glasses on there, and it's a glass, it holds your eyeglasses. And so I said, well, these two entrepreneurs, their products are incredible. And so the very next morning, over coffee, I got up early and I was really excited. I wanted I went online and researched them. And then right when I was going to research them, this title of a book popped in my head: Conversations with Shark Tank Winners. So I looked around for a piece of paper to write it down so I wouldn't forget it. And there was a business card next to me, and I flipped it over and it was blank, and I scribbled it right away so I wouldn't forget. And I still have that card, by the way. I took a photo of it and things, and I used that to tell people this is where it can all start for you, from just a small idea like this. So fast forward here, I went online and researched the title, Conversation with Shark Tank Winner, on the United States copyright site for books, for literature. Nobody had it. I registered it. Then I went about an hour later to look on for the domain name, Shark Tank Effect, and to see if anybody had that, and nobody had it. So I bought it right away. And this all happened within about 2 hours of when I started the project. And then I called up the entrepreneurs. I did research and I said, hey, I'm starting this multimedia book project. I saw your segment last night. Give me a call back. They called me right away.
Now, let me ask you a question before you move forward.
Yeah,
So, was this the first time you had even attempted to do a multimedia book that way?
absolutely.
And
At the time,
so Scott, what I'm thinking here is that you had this spark, this idea, and that idea led you down this path for the first 2.5, 3 hours, and then you called them out of nowhere and you pitched them, and they were on. It was almost as if like it was meant to be because it came from such a beautiful place.
absolutely. It was authentic. It was just part of who I am. And it goes, of course, it goes back to what I said here in the beginning. The story is what got me going, and I wanted to share their story. So that's what motivated me. And let me just segue into something really important here about this. There was a show on TV a few years back that followed Shark Tank in the summer. When Shark Tank went off, it kicked in the summer, and it went on for 2 or 3 years. It was called Secret Millionaire, that aired on ABC TV. I saw one of the secret millionaires on there, and his story was incredible. So I called him up and I told him who I was, and he agreed to a segment with me. And so his name was Steve Kaplan, and two-time New York Times bestselling author, Bag the Elephant, Be the Elephant. And he was one of the finalists to be a judge on Shark Tank, one of the sharks. And so I hadn't talked to Steve in about a year since I did his segment, and I called him up right when I had this idea after I registered it. And I said, Steve, you hadn't heard from me for a while. This is Ray. He called me back right away. I told him about the idea, and he said, Ray, this is dynamite. Whoever I could do to support you. And he gave me an endorsement, and I'm the only one he's given an endorsement to for a book. And he flew out from Chicago to support me when my book launched at the University of Phoenix School of Business in their Pasadena campus. And he flew in and he spoke and he introduced me there. So Steve is serial entrepreneur. You can look for him online. He's a really great guy. He was my mentor for a long time. And so that started this whole process.
Good deal. Good deal. So what would you say to some of our young entrepreneurs out there, or even some of our older entrepreneurs, as far as getting started and overcoming that initial fear of maybe pitching their idea or just getting started in general?
Wow, that's a really good question, Sean, and I'm going to answer it this way. I always like to show by example when I answer something if I've been through. We talked about this. Was it you? Well, I don't remember who, but I was at the NACCE conference, National Association for Community College Entrepreneurship conference last year, and just as I was about to speak, I had a slide presentation and a presentation that I'd worked really hard on, prepared. And for some reason, when I started my first slide, they introduced me, and I started my first slide, everything was reversed. It was all in the wrong order. I don't know how that happened. There was over 500 decision makers from all across the country in the room. And so I ad-libbed everything. I threw it all out, and I just ad-libbed everything. And the lesson here I want to say to entrepreneurs, young and old, experienced, is that your audience and people aren't going to know what your content is. Only you do. So because nobody knows that except for you, if you come across confident, if you come across genuine and authentic, it's going to be right for them, and it's going to be right, for your audience, because they're not going to know either way what you had planned to say or what you had planned to get across. And so what I want to say also is just start the journey. Start wherever you're at. I read something a long time ago that said, I think Tony Robbins said this, do the best you can with what you have where you're at.
Right.
And That's been my philosophy. Just start.
Right.
Start, and whatever roads and paths that you take, it's going to be the correct one. Even if, and you know this, guys, you're very successful. Most of the time, things are not going to work out how you want them to, but that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey.
So Ray, one of the things that you mentioned was mentor. And so how important is it for men, for young women to have a mentor? How do you think that affected your business?
Wow. It gave me a lot of confidence. It really did help me with my confidence, because on this journey, Big, there's a lot of most of the time, or a lot of the time, that it's not a sure thing, that you're moving forward, and it's not something that's written in stone that you're going to be achieve success, right? I think Pat Riley said it best when he said you can do all of these things, and you can train, and you can practice hard, and you can do everything that we can. And does it guarantee success? No, but without it, you don't have a chance. And so with me, when Steve came around, I mean, you're talking about a guy, Steve Kaplan is a guy he's extremely successful, but of all people, he chose me to mentor. And I'm thinking he saw something in myself that I didn't see in me at the time.
Right.
And so that let me know that I'm doing something right. If a guy like this, of that stature, is going to come and support me, it lets me know that I'm doing something right and I'm on the right path. And it gave me a lot of confidence. And because there were many dark times, there were many difficult times. Back in 2005, I was officially diagnosed with a chronic illness, rheumatoid disease. You know it as rheumatoid arthritis, severe rheumatoid disease. I still have it today. It's a major disability in my life. I didn't say much about it when I was first diagnosed, because I kept it to myself. I didn't want to let it out, but I had to as time went on, because it was affecting my life. I was a very consistent individual all my life. But then when this disease hit me, it's a crazy disease that affects, it's a disease that affects your whole body, not just your joints, your heart, your lungs, your blood vessels, your eyes, your skin. And I'm on my fourth biologic now, where I practically live at my rheumatologist's, where I go in and I get infusions, blood work, tests. I mean, it's insane. So it's been a very difficult journey. And so it's helped me with my confidence through this whole thing. And I tell this story to people because there's a project that I want to hopefully in the next few years comes into fruition. It's called Entrepreneur with RA. And I want to help entrepreneurs who have this chronic illness and to give them confidence and let them know that, that you don't have to be alone from it, and to educate those that aren't aware of what this disease does to those of us who have it.
Wow. I definitely appreciate you sharing that story with us, Ray. I can relate. I'm right there on the borderline of arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. So
Wow.
I speak with my rheumatologist quite a bit as well. So I definitely can relate with you on that.
Wow. Okay.
So going right into that topic, what would you say, or how would you say the importance of adapting, not just to our personal lives, but to the economic environment for entrepreneurs? How important is that, being able to adapt to anything that's going your way?
Yeah, well, great question. And, Big and Sean, right now we're seeing it. Right now we're all living it with the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, it just flipped everything upside down.
Yeah.
It's just devastated the economy. It's devastated people's lives. It's interrupted businesses. I mean, hey, we all used to go to concerts, and I look forward every year to my Earth, Wind, and Fire concert with my wife. Man, we look forward to going to one or two concerts. That's what we look forward to every year, and it ain't happening now.
Right.
The only thing we can do is just go to go to the store, go to the things of the basics, and that's it. Much more than it's affected much more the entrepreneurs because I'm sure you guys used to meet all the time in person with your groups, your networking, and it's been interrupted, which was a big part of what you do, what entrepreneurs do. So Mark Cuban says this, the Shark Tank is really interesting for season 12 because it's unlike all of the other 11 seasons in that they talk a lot about the pandemic, and Mark Cuban talks about the hard pivot.
Right.
What are you doing? What are you doing? And so for me personally, and what I want to convey to the entrepreneurs is, you're going to have to find a way according to what your situation is. And I'll explain this what my situation is, and you apply it to your certain business or however you want to apply it, is that I was, I had a couple of years of speaking gigs lined up, and overnight they just vanished. Okay. Right. They vanished. So what did I have to do? I had to pivot, and I had to create my studio here at home. I had to upgrade it. Fortunately for me, where I produced my multimedia book at a place called PAX Stereo TV here in Los Angeles, two of the biggest innovators for live internet online reality TV programming, the tech guru Mario Hemsley and his assistant there, not assistant, but cameraman, mixer, he does it all, engineer, Victor Allen. I found them and they found me at a social media event here in Los Angeles. And I went in and I produced my multimedia book there at their studio. It's just absolutely fantastic. These guys are such pioneers and innovators. And so I was gifted because of that, because Mario, the guy who was the innovator and the guy who created the studio, he gifted me a studio. He said, come on over. I'm giving certain individuals an upgrade for their studio because of what's going on now. And I want to create a whole group of broadcasters delivering their message. So he gifted me a studio and I upgraded right away here. And so I was very fortunate with that. But pivoting, whatever you can do to pivot your business, you have to do it because it's a matter of survival now. It's not if I should or if maybe I can do it later on. You got to do it, and you have to be courageous and make that move, because if you don't, I guarantee you're never going to survive during this time. It's not going to happen.
Ray, we're 100% behind you on that about pivoting, because even when you think about some of the major brand name stores that went out of business because, one, they didn't go online when they should have, and two, when the pandemic struck, a lot of people went out of business. Another one of the things that I like to bring up is something that you said that was key, was the studio that you were working with, they gifted. So how important is it for us as entrepreneurs to give back? And is there anything that you have right now that you could share that you may be possibly giving?
Oh yeah, well, I created this free series. It's a powerful. It's an 8-part series with 8 of my wonderful Shark Tank entrepreneur friends, and in-depth with full 30-minute length segments with each of these dynamic entrepreneurs. And they talk about 2 things that are very important. One is how they reveal their strategies, what they did, online sales strategies, and they're all flourishing during this time.
Great.
Okay. 2, the other one was pre-pandemic business strategies, post-pandemic business strategies. It's very, very different what they are doing. So they go in depth. And then they talk about, the Shark Tank, auditioning, what their experiences for auditioning for Shark Tank. And so I created that series It's a free series for everybody. I did it for the college kids, but anybody can benefit from it. And that was my gift. I put a lot of time, I put a lot of energy into that. And to tell you how dynamic the guests are, one of them, I think I talked to you, Sean, about my very good friend, Robbie Cabral. Robbie he went on Shark Tank a few years back. He had a product called Benji Lock. It disrupted an industry, his product that had not been disrupted in over 2,000 years.
Wow.
The lock and key. He developed this product because he got laid off the same day his daughter was born. He became really depressed over things. He gained, a lot of weight. He was out of shape. He went to the gym, and then he saw somebody there that lost their key to their lock, and they had to call the manager in and had to cut the lock. And he says, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way. And so he went home, and without any experience of designing and drawing or anything, he got in his computer and he learned programs how to do that. And after 3 years of fumbling around and schematic after schematic on his computer and drawings, he developed the first lock that will open up with your fingerprint.
Right.
And he went to the Consumer Electronics Show with the last bit of money that he had with his little booth. And he beat out Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies for Innovator of the Year Award 2017 and 2018. And I'll cut it there because the rest is history, what he went through and where he is now. And we've shared the stage before many times. We've been online many times, but that's just one of the segments in this series.
Right. Well, that's some good stuff. That's definitely some good stuff. I know Big and I both wholeheartedly believe that the entrepreneur mindset is very, very, very important. We think everybody should definitely think entrepreneurially, out here. So, and obviously, Benji did that when he created that lock, because it's either you see the problem or you see a solution to the problem.
Yeah. And all five sharks wanted him on the show. They were fighting over him, and eventually Mr. Wonderful got him, Kevin O'Leary.
Okay. Yeah. He's seen the profits.
Yeah. No, the royalty deal, man.
Yeah,
royalty in perpetuity.
Definitely. So with having that different mindset, I guess, what kind of roadblocks have you had to overcome with dealing with some of the community colleges and maybe some of the universities, dealing with some of the entrepreneur students?
Wow. I'm going to be honest with you on that. It's not the students.
Okay.
It's not the students, because the students, they love Shark Tank. They love the stories. When I have taken this out live to the colleges, the kids they just absolutely love the stories, the interaction with the entrepreneurs. They're enthusiastic.
Right.
What I am going to say is this, and I don't know if this will offend anybody, but one thing that I've noticed about working with administrations in colleges is that they're getting in their own way.
Oh yeah. We see it.
They are getting in there. I have talked to them. With exception of maybe a few. There's a few that I've worked with that are so forward thinking.
Wow. Right.
Only a few. But what I have found is that I hear that we can't build our program. We're having problem with the student retention. Right. We can't build our program. And so here I come and offer something different and new to them. Yeah. And that's where it stops.
Well, that's why they can't build their programs.
Absolutely. You're telling me, in other words, they're very incongruent. You're saying one thing, mean another, and doing a third. And it ain't going to happen that way, man. So
that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly. That was the first slide I was going to use when they reversed the slide. So maybe the guy saw that. He tried to sabotage me, man.
That could have happened. Yeah.
Now, so I remember reading a couple of things after I've met you and talk to you a bit. You have an event that's coming up now that our audiences and those we come in contact with will be able to almost pretty much do the same thing that you were doing live with some of the Shark Tank contestants.
Absolutely. I have an event coming up Tuesday, February 23rd, next Tuesday,
Okay.
beginning 3 p.m. Pacific time to 4:30 p.m. And I've made that pivot, and this is the first live event online that I am producing myself. Now, I did it in conjunction with a few other organizations, but this is mine. This is mine here, and I'm bringing what I brought to the students and on my tours across the United States. I partnered with some great organizations. Small Business Expo, Network After Work Group, different the CEO Focus Group. I did a gig with them about this time last year in New Orleans before the pandemic hit. And so I'm bringing it live with the live entrepreneur panel presentation. I've got 3 incredible entrepreneurs, Tisa Washington, Jovan English of Milk and Brookies. They were on season 5. Great women, African-American women entrepreneurs. They are incredible. They really brought it. We've shared the stage many times. And another Shark Tank entrepreneur, Zach Fleischman of Shark Wheel, his product, another innovator, disrupted an industry that hadn't been disrupted in 5,000 years, the wheel.
You know what? That's funny because I'm like 5,000 years. I'm like, what could that possibly be? Was the wheel around then?
There you go. Well, it was the wheel. I don't know if they had Goodyear tires back in those days. And so I have all 3 of them coming on, and they really bring it. They're really beautiful people. We're really good friends. We've shared the stage many times, and I really love how they approach this whole thing of when they went on Shark Tank and they explain everything. So what makes this event different is that we're going to focus on 2 things. We're going to focus on, Shark Tank is opening up auditions for season 13. They just opened them up.
Okay.
And everybody, I'm encouraging everybody. What makes this different this year is we're still going through the pandemic, and we don't know how long this is going to go.
Right.
And now is your opportunity to audition. If there's ever a time, now is your opportunity to audition. And they've opened up. They just opened them up. So we're going to talk about audition strategies that's going to position yourself for the best possible opportunity to succeed and land a coveted spot on Shark Tank. And then we're going to talk about their online sales strategies, if we get around to that, of what they're doing to flourish during this time. So I encourage everybody, all of your network and everybody who's going to be watching this, now is the time. I think there was Rabbi Halal that said this, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm for myself only, what am I? If not now, when?
Yep.
And this is it right here, man. You're going to do it.
Ray, I've got two things for you that I want to resonate. One, Sean and I, we're going to make sure that we market to get this out, because a powerful thing that you stated was so that they could be prepared if they were to go on the Shark Tank. But we know that this training that's going to be happening is going to prepare you to be successful regardless of if you make it to the Shark Tank finalists or not. And the second is, going back to your story, there's somebody out there right now that nobody knows that's doing what they're supposed to do. And they may be that person that comes on board because it's that time. It's their time right now. They just have to take the effort, show up, and listen.
Absolutely. And thank you for reinforcing that, Big. I mean, really now, I always say this, when I was on tour or whenever I've spoken live to the college kids or the business professionals, whoever, everybody who goes and applies for Shark Tank is not going to make it, but that makes you a cut above everybody else because you've taken incredible action.
Yeah.
And it's only going to make you better. It's only going to make you better because there's a process here with Shark Tank is it's a very grueling process. There's no doubt about that, man. It's a phenomenon, but there's you got to get through the producers of the show first and foremost, and that is extremely. You got to bring your A game, but that's only going to help you when you go pitch in front of. It could be your local shark, you know, your local investor, whoever it is. This is you're taking your game up another level with this, and it's only going to make you better. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by this.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree 100%. You know, that experience is valuable, you know, and I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand. You got to put yourself out there, you know, because you never, you know, when it comes to entrepreneurship, you never really lose, you learn, you know, and just like you said, taking action, you're already 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody that's still thinking about it.
And you never know. Here's something else. You never know. You never know who is watching you.
Right.
A quick story here. There was a guy. What's his name? Now that I mentioned it, I can't remember it. I just slipped my mind here. But she went on Shark Tank. The Books. It's a flower service. Here in Marina Del Rey. John Tabis is his name. He didn't get a deal on Shark Tank. Okay. He went on, and it was some kind of a service for weddings and that type of thing that he was offering with his flower boutique. But a couple of years later, Robert Herjavec was getting married again, and he remembered him on the show. So he looked him up and he called him up and he says, "Hey, I'm getting married. I liked what you did. Can you provide me with flowers and stuff?" So he did. And he was so impressed with what he did that he went to his business. And he said, "Well, let me see what you've done since we've been on Shark Tank." And so he signed him to a deal.
Wow, that's it.
You see, so you don't ever know who's watching you.
Right.
You don't ever know who's focusing in on your idea.
Right.
But they're never going to know unless you don't go out there.
That's it.
You know.
That's it.
Yeah.
Preparation started yesterday.
Yeah.
And don't be ashamed. That's the thing. It's about, if it's your dream, you need to really focus on getting it out there. Don't be ashamed. Be sensible, but get it done.
Absolutely. And that's so important, Big. That's so important. It's getting it done. We've heard, we know about this. Take immediate action. You know, don't wait. Just when you come up with this idea or whatever it is, man, I look back at when this whole journey started for me, and within the first 5 minutes of that inspiration that I had when I wrote the title of my book on the back of a card, that's when this journey began, and I took that immediate action, and I haven't looked back since.
Right.
But taking action and not being afraid to make mistakes, I think that's not being afraid to look maybe to others to look foolish, but that's part of the process. We all have to fall down, and we're all going to, and most of the time, as both of you know better than most, it's not going to happen most of the time. Right. However, when it does, it's absolutely incredible how it can change our lives.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. I think, looking back on just my journey alone, over 20, 30 years into the real estate game, having the right people around you is so important, and what would you say to some of the entrepreneurs right now that are either thinking about an idea or have already taken the first step, but don't have the support element that they should have around them? What would you say? What would you tell them? I guess to do, or how to create that support element around them?
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because as I'd mentioned earlier, there was a lot of things that we could do that we all had our networks going out, networking to different events, those types of things. And unfortunately, that's not the case right now. But this is where technology comes in. Right. Technology can take you to places, and a lot of people in their businesses now. Look at the businesses where most of their employees now are working remotely. Okay. Right. and they're connecting through technology. That's how you and I connected, and now here we are on Zoom here. This is so there's really no excuse. There's especially with these youngsters, these young college kids. I mean, they were born with a phone in their hand. They can do incredible things.
Right.
So you have your social media, you have ways of connecting on Instagram and on Facebook and on Zoom, and there's the internet and communication anywhere that we're at. So there's really no excuse not to make it happen. Now that you are at home a lot, you have a lot more time, and you can, there's, if you are consistent, and this is one thing I think that I want to say to everybody, is consistency is one of the most difficult things to achieve. Because, and I can say this from my personal experiences, many times I don't feel well. I mean, this is with this chronic illness, man, I could feel fine one minute, and then the next it feels like I'm being squashed by a boulder, and I gotta shut it down.
Right.
And so, but even if I'm able to do only 20 minutes that day, I've done it. I'll go home and I'll rest, and then the next day there's always tomorrow.
Right.
So staying consistent during these times, being consistent as an entrepreneur, consistency is it's going to be able to help get you through, as we know as entrepreneurs, many dark valleys and challenges and setbacks and negative people that are trying to stop you, that are trying to get in your way and create obstacles because maybe they don't like where you're going, and that you're accomplishing your dream, whatever it is.
Right.
Be consistent.
Ray, I'm gonna tell you, it's funny when we get down toward the ends of the interview. One of the questions that we'll ask is, name 2 or 3 things that is your key to success. And you've already started with pretty much one of the number one things is consistency. That's almost one of the most overlooked keys to success. Do you have another one that's like right up there with it, or 2 more to share? And then Sean's gonna close out with his question, and see what we can do as far as working together as teams for things in the future.
Absolutely. One of the things that I do all the time is this is where the internet and online and on YouTube, I've made YouTube my station of choice here, because I can click on anything I want to click on that's going to empower me. And one of the things I do is I'll go to YouTube in the morning, and there's times when I just need a shot in the arm because I'm not feeling well, or I'm tired, or something didn't go right, or whatever it is. And one of my favorite movies of all time is the Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was Chris Gardner's story. After I saw that movie, I went to the bookstore and Barnes and Noble, and I bought that book, and I sat there and I read half of it in the bookstore.
Right.
And the other half. Right. Yeah. And so there's a scene in there where when they pick him to be a stockbroker there, a commodities broker.
Right.
And it's a tremendous scene. And so I'll play those types of things to give me inspiration, to let me know that I'm not alone in this. Another one is the great Olympic athlete, and I communicate with her on Instagram a lot, Sonia Richards-Ross. When she ran the women's 4x400 meter race in the Beijing Games, and her last leg, she was behind, and she had a lot of catching up to do. And with about 20 meters left, she went right by the Russian girl who was going to win that race, and she won by about maybe a length, or maybe a foot and a half. She beat her. She came from behind and won the gold medal.
Video. I think I saw that video.
Yeah, it's one of the most dramatic races ever in Olympic history. And I watched that because I remember watching that. And excuse me, it brought tears to my eyes because I'm thinking, wow, this is what the human spirit is about. This is about what not quitting is about, because she lost her gold medal race, individual race. For the second time, she didn't make it, and she had to pull back and forget about it. And she ran the race of her life and got that gold medal. Right. So those types of things I encourage everybody to do. And the third thing is, look, have fun when you're doing this. If you're not going to have fun and enjoy yourself, it's important. It is, everything is important. But have fun along the way. Have fun. I enjoy creating. I enjoy being in my studio here. Right. I enjoy meeting incredible individuals like yourselves. We're like-minded spirits here. And so enjoy yourself. You only have one life. Live a balanced life. Spend time with your significant other, your wife, your significant other. Don't forget about the good Lord. Don't forget about God. That's important. And just always have something really nice to say and uplifting to someone else, because you don't ever know what that person is going through.
Yep. Agree 100%, Ray. You know, and so Big and I would definitely like to thank you for coming on to our show today. You know, giving all those nuggets to all the listeners. Anyone that's going to watch this video, we definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to do that. You know, I agree with you. You know, we definitely, you know, why not have fun, love what you do, and make money in the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm jealous of you guys, man. Next time, I'm going to, if I can't grow one of these next time, then I'm going to get one of those phony ones, you know.
The funny ones? Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. You guys are the best, man. Your energy, your professionalism. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I had a great time being on your incredible podcast, and thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Well, Ray, yeah, we definitely appreciate it. And so for all of those out here that's going to be tuning in, you're going to find all of Ray's information down at the bottom. You're going to find the events that he has coming up. And we'd like to thank you all, too, for joining us here together Thursdays, Sean and Big.
Take care.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, man.
You too.